Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It opens on the vibrant red planet of Mars with the construction worker Douglas Quaid walking its surface. He's with a beautiful brunette stranger when he all of a sudden takes a tumble down a cliff and cracks open his visor. It begins a rapid decompression when he suddenly wakes up from a nightmare that his blonde wife comforts him from. She gets jealous at the mention of an imaginary woman until her husband promises Lori that the brunette isn't real. The year is 2084 and humans have colonized Mars to mine a valuable resource called turbinium but recently shut down operations when discovering alien artifacts. It's resulted in the hard-working citizens of Mars losing their jobs and regular terror attacks by freedom fighters led by their mutant leader Kuato. Lori switches the television over to a nature backdrop to distract Doug, who's recently been fantasizing about leaving Earth to visit Mars. Unable to resist, he turns it back on to hear the Martian governor Vilos Cohaagen request more tourists to visit in hopes of offsetting their negative press. Returning to work feeling unfulfilled and not just with the blonde, Quaid catches the train where he sees an ad for a place that implants virtual vacations into your memories named Recall. He asks his co-worker Harry if he's ever heard of it, but he says that his friend nearly got lobotomized going there and to keep away for his own safety. That's still not enough to keep Quaid away, and that evening he sets up a meeting with Recall salesman Bob McLean about what they can offer. He's told that they've come a long way since the guy was lobotomized and let Quaid become a secret agent on Mars as part of his visual experience. They insert the woman of his dreams, but when Quaid's put into Recall, he suddenly wakes up trying to warn the technicians that a secret agency's coming to kill them all. They manage to sedate him and learn that Quaid's already undergone a memory wipe previously before being implanted with the life that he's currently living. Scared of who might have done it, McLean decides to erase all of his memories of today and pretend like Douglas Quaid never visited Recall. He wakes up in a Johnny cab outside his home but can't remember how he got there, and the Douglas Quaid memories are still all he has. Harry is waiting outside his place and reveals himself to be an enforcer whose entire job was to prevent Quaid from going to Recall. Feeling threatened, Doug's unexplained training kicks in and he's able to kill Harry and all of Cohaagen's henchmen with relative ease. When he gets home, Doug attempts to explain to Lori what happened, but she says that it must just be delusions result of the memory implant. The evidence on his hands says otherwise, so when Quaid goes to the bathroom to get cleaned up, Lori gets on the phone with her boyfriend Richter. He orders her to kill Quaid, who doesn't realize who's attacking him until turning the lights on and being stunned that it's his wife. She continues to fight and reveals that she never even met Doug before 6 weeks ago, as their whole marriage was implanted to hide his past. Lori's defeated but does everything she can to keep Quaid distracted long enough until Richter arrives. Deciding not to kill her, Doug races out of the apartment as the enforcer just misses him on the way up to finding that Lori failed her mission. They make up while Richter's right-hand man Helm tracks Quaid down to the subway with the device implanted in his brain. Forgetting about Lori's pistol, he sets off a metal detector but runs through the machine to prevent capture by Richter hot on his heels. His men pursue Quaid through the station, killing multiple civilians, but Doug manages to use one for a shield and shoots his way onto a train. Cohaagen contacts Richter to tell him he wants Doug alive, but the enforcer pretends not to hear that part so that he can kill Quaid for sleeping with Lori. After getting a room in a hotel, Quaid's called by a man who claims to have worked with him and says to wrap his head in a wet towel to scramble Helm's tracker. He leaves him a briefcase before disappearing, but when Doug tries to get away, Richter arrives and attempts to kill him. He hijacks Johnny cab and escapes the enforcer, but when pulling up at an abandoned building to take shelter, the AI malfunctions and crashes into a wall. Quaid goes inside and opens the briefcase to find money, fake IDs, as well as other handy gadgets, including one that makes a hologram of its user. He finds a recording of himself and learns that his name's Hauser, and worked on Mars as an enforcer like Richter until he betrayed Cohaagen and joined the rebels. Hauser tells Doug to use a clamp from the case to remove the tracking device through his nose, giving away his location to the enforcers. The video instructs him to bring down Cohaagen, and Quaid escapes by inserting the tracking device in a piece of rat food, which keeps Richter and Helm distracted shooting at ghosts until they realize. The wanted fugitive uses the money to travel to Mars in the disguise of a woman to get him past security, including Cohaagen's men who expect him to show. Before Quaid makes it through, the disguise malfunctions, giving his identity away to Richter as the mask detaches from his head. He tosses it at the enforcers and it explodes, but Richter shoots at him, putting a hole in the habitat and killing multiple civilians who get sucked out into the Martian atmosphere. When the security doors shut, Doug manages to slip away and visit a safety deposit box that Hauser's told him to open. He's left directions for himself to meet someone named Melina and quickly jumps a ride with Martian cab driver Benny before another terrorist attack commences. He takes Quaid through the Martian tunnels as they're currently being bored by giant drills, until reaching the red light district containing hundreds of mutants that have developed psychic abilities. Benny says that it's the result of Cohaagen building the poorer people's radiation shields out of cheaper materials while he takes Quaid to a bar called The Last Resort. Inside he meets Mary, who tries to entice Quaid with her 3 breasts before he's overheard looking for the mutant resistance. Melina's one of the rebels and was also Hauser's lover, but he's unable to remember her or the mutant Tony, who isn't happy to see him. On their way to Melina's room, Quaid meets Thumbelina before being expected to recognize his girlfriend, but he informs her that he now has a wife. Despite him simply not remembering her, Mel believes Quaid to be acting as one of Cohaagen's double agents all along and kicks him out. Returning to his hotel room, Quaid's met by a Dr. Edgemar, who developed recall and tells Quaid that everything he's experienced since leaving there has all been part of the secret agent implant. He even brings in Lori, who tries to convince her husband to take a pill that'll wake him up from the delusion that he's stuck inside. Quaid attempts bluffing the doctor, but he doesn't budge, so he almost believes that he's part of a simulation, until he notices nervous sweat running down Edgemar's face and calls the agency's bluff instead. Richter's men suddenly burst in and overwhelm Quaid before his wife lands the knockout blow herself, as she hates having to visit Mars. She attempts to deliver him downstairs to her boss, but his goons get intercepted on the elevator by Melina, who kills all of the men. The women then fight each other until Lori defeats Mel and is about to stab her when Doug wakes up and rescues her in return. The agent attempts to sweet-talk her husband, but when she pulls on him, he ends the marriage with a bullet to the brain. Mel figures that if they want Quaid dead, then he must have information they need, and they escape together before Richter enters to find his girl. Doug and Mel manage to avoid Helm's gunfire, who even prevents his boss from shooting at the couple, as the bullets will crack the dome and kill them all. They manage to catch a ride with Benny back to the red light district, having a high-speed chase through the mining tunnels of Mars on the way. The rebels crash straight into the last resort, where Tony and the whole bar assist them in hiding from Cohaagen's men. Upon being denied their location, Richter shoots 3 boobs dead before turning to Thumbelina, but Tony saves her by getting himself shot. An all-out shootout begins in where Thumb stabs and kills Helm, while they all manage to fight back Cohaagen's men enough that he orders them to pull back. Richter survives, and at his boss's command they seal off the dome that contains the last resort to suffocate the small rebellion. Quaid, Melina and Benny escape underground before the town gets sealed off and go through the remains of the early settlers, who work themselves to an early grave for Cohaagen to receive the profits. They come across the surviving rebels, who trust Benny when he reveals himself to be a mutant like them, and bring the trio to their underground headquarters. Quaid meets a man named George, who takes him to meet Kuato in private, where he's revealed to be conjoined to George's torso and kept secret for his safety. The little guy probes Hauser's memories from Quaid's mind to learn about the alien technology that Cohaagen discovered beneath the pyramid mining site. It's a large reactor made of turbinium capable of producing oxygen for the entire planet, which would destroy the dictator's control over Mars. Just then a drill comes crashing through the wall as Cohaagen's men begin an assault on the rebel base, where many on both sides are killed. Before the main group can escape, Benny's revealed to be a double agent and kills George, having been led right to Kuato by Quaid and Melina. He's working for Richter, who enters and shoots Kuato dead, but not before he implores Doug to activate the reactor and free Mars. The pair get taken to Cohaagen's office, where he shows them another video from Hauser, revealing Quaid to be part of an elaborate plot to locate the rebel stronghold and kill Kuato. Richter wasn't privy to the plan, which is why he kept trying to kill Quaid, who wouldn't believe what he's hearing if it wasn't coming from his own mouth. They strap Quaid into the memory implanter to receive total recall and return to being Cohaagen's trusted friend and enforcer. He says that Melina will be reprogrammed as Hauser's obedient wife, and is informed that the survivors at the last resort will be dead within the hour. Since he won't remember it, Richter punches Quaid before they depart to celebrate, while the recalled technicians begin the implant. Underestimating the hard labor, Quaid manages to muscle his way out of the machine and kills all the technicians who try to restrain him. He frees Melina, who forgives him for Hauser's betrayal, and they kill the entering guards before escaping the compound. They rush towards the alien reactor to get it started, but hit a dead end in the tunnels, where Benny corners them with one of the earth movers. The armored vehicle descends, but Quaid uses a handheld drill to cut its hydraulics, causing the machine to shut down just before it reaches them. He then sticks the drill through one of the side panels, killing the traitor Benny, who's unable to get out in time. Meanwhile, Cohaagen gets news of the escape and finally gives Richter permission to kill Doug, but it pains him to do so as he's losing his close friend in Hauser, so he kicks over his poor goldfish. Benny's drill broke a hole into the chamber containing the alien reactor, but Quaid decides to enter alone to secure the control room. Richter and his men ambush him and open fire, but Doug just laughs at them as he's just the hologram. The real one flanks them, mowing down most of Cohaagen's remaining security force and continuing the shootout through the structure. He fakes more officers out pretending to be the hologram, while he gives the device to Melina, who makes the final 2 shoot themselves. Richter tries to escape as Quaid fights him on an elevator until the enforcer's held over the edge, where his arms are severed off by the next floor. Doug arrives at the control panel, but Cohaagen's already there and attempts to dissuade Quaid from using the alien artifact. He threatens to blow it up when Melina arrives and shoots him, so Quaid throws the explosive away before he activates it, destroying a seal to the room and depressurizing it. They all hold on until Quaid knocks Cohaagen's grip loose and he's dragged out onto the surface of Mars, where he dies painfully suffocating. Quaid just manages to activate the artifact before he and Melina are blown out into the atmosphere and begin decompressing. Their eyes begin to bulge as the alien device heats up and plunges into the surface, melting the ice below the crust and releasing waves of O2 into the air around them. Like Cohaagen predicted, it causes tremendous devastation to the current Mars colony, but rapidly creates a new atmosphere that gives the surviving residents fresh air to breathe. Quaid and Melina survive, as well as everyone at the last resort who watches the Martian sky slowly turns blue. Curious if this is still just all part of his secret agent implant from Recall, Melina tells Quaid to kiss her before he wakes up. And the movie ends.